Hello everyone, we're here for another weekly whiteboard, starting off a little bit earlier today because I'm heading out this weekend, gonna go on a little boating adventure with some friends, just a little east of Nashville, a lake over there. So pretty excited, so I'm gonna be heading out a little earlier this afternoon. So sorry for all you Californians, it's a little bit earlier for you, but that's okay, it's 8 a.m. over there. No, sorry, 9 a.m., that's not that bad. All right, so we're on for this weekly whiteboard. Please feel free to submit your questions as I'm going live. I do have some questions spilled over from the last week and other questions I've gotten from investors. So kind of fun today. Today I had 3 investors coming in from the Chicagoland area, a group of work colleagues. They're pretty awesome. It was a good time. They came and checked out our office and I gave them a tour of our campus. We have about a 2,200 square foot building. They were real impressed at our warehouse. So we have a big warehouse. Maybe we'll go and show you guys that sometime soon. We have a warehouse where we buy all of our materials in bulk. I mean, we got basically a miniature Home Depot over here. They love seeing that we can buy stuff at a big group discount, pass those savings on to our investors. Then also, one thing that they liked a lot about us that was unique is they liked our screening process, tenant screening process. So going off on our tenant screening, we of course do all the basic things that any other property manager you should expect them to do. So we do of course a credit check. We do a background check. Making sure, you know, in Memphis, the competitive market, it's not too much of like, we're not looking for a perfect credit score here, like in the 700s. It's okay if it dips down a little bit lower. We've still seen tenants be successful for lower credit score, and also that's just kind of the tenant-based pool here in Memphis. But we are checking to make sure if they don't have any bankruptcies, especially within the past year or two. So if they do, they're automatically written off. And we're sticking to all the fair housing laws. We're screening all of our tenants the same way, doing the same procedures there. We do a background check. We're looking for violent crimes, big major felonies, things like that. If it's some minor things, we're letting that go by for the background check, but definitely violent crimes or anything like that. And we are also checking for 3 times their income. And here's the big difference, net versus gross. So what we do is we actually do 3 times net income. Most property management companies, when they're screening their tenants, they're looking at gross income. So they make $3,000 a month. They can afford a $1,000 a month rental. They make $3,000 a month. They have X take taxes, so they can afford $950 or $900 a month rent. So that's something different about us. We started doing it just to kind of make sure our tenants have a little bit more wiggle room with, you know, their finances and everything like that. So we really just want to make sure they can afford that rent. 3 times of gross. I mean, who knows if people have a big tax burden or other things. Another big thing that we do that differentiates us from other people is we do a budget. So the investors were real impressed at that. And sometimes it's the first time these tenants have done a budget in their life. And we're also using their credit. So if they have some credit cards on there, a car loan, whatever those monthly payments are, you know, $50 a month in there, and they have another credit card where the minimum payment's $100, we make sure those items are on the budget. That's one way for us to be like, oh, gotcha, you know, you probably shouldn't be taking this rental out, things like that. And so those are kind of the main screening things that we have with our tenants. Obviously, we check references. Everyone over 18 needs to apply. So that way we have more people responsible trying to pay. And also we're making sure there's only a certain amount of people in there. So another thing that we've done recently on tenant screening is in terms of our lease. There was a big lawsuit here with another property management company, luckily not us. They were not doing too well on screening the pets going into the property or making sure that the tenants are stating the pets in there and keeping them on leashes and things like that. So we've revamped our pet addendum. So we have a whole big pet addendum. So of course we do allow pets, because if we didn't, I mean, probably half our units wouldn't be able to be, or third or so, wouldn't be able to be occupied. But we have certain breeds that are not allowed. Just to kind of, we learned, we had our lawyer case study the lawsuit between that really the landlord lost on this lawsuit and got fined quite a bit because a dog attacked someone and killed someone, unfortunately. Or I think attacked someone and the person was scared. Sorry, let me go back. The case was the dog chased someone, they ran, and it was an elderly person, and they tripped and broke a knee or something like that. Sorry, I don't know all the details. But it was kind of scary, and a big lawsuit happened with it. And the property management company, first off, didn't know that the pet was in there, weren't being aware of that, weren't stating anything like that. So anyways, we fixed our ways on that and made sure we're just being really, really cautious on that end. Having a big pet addendum. We also do pet checks. So our guys are trained when they're going and doing a maintenance request to look in the property, look for signs of a dog or animals in there to make sure, and then they send that info back regardless of whether the tenant states they can have a pet or not, and they get picture proof of that, and we send it and look on the lease to make sure that that tenant indeed can have that pet or that X amount of pets in there. Then we charge an extra $25 a month. $25 a month for pets, like per pet on there. And also a higher deposit, pet deposit, because we're going to have to clean it and all that a little bit more than if not. So yeah, we are pet friendly, but we're just being more and more strict on our pet addendum and things like that. Just kind of filling you in with kind of the latest things that are going on in our world on that, on the screen there. So real exciting stuff. Pet addendums, legal court cases, just the days of being a property manager here in Memphis. Okay, going off on that. Now, here's one thing also that I showed them. So they asked me, how do you know what the rent is in the area? I mean, I've been looking, and your rents don't look exactly what I'm seeing on Zillow and other things like that, and other software. And I was like, well, great question. First off, my partner, who's been here for 45 years, Jim Reedy, he has been in Memphis renting properties for over 45 years. So I could ask him pretty much any street, and he would know what the street is, where it's at, and he's had 20 other houses nearby. So first off, we have the internal database of Jim Reedy's brain to go off on rents and what areas are and things like that. Then also, here's the big one, is we have an advantage because we manage 2,700 doors. So let me pop this up for you. So hopefully you can see that. There, each one of those little dots on there on this map represents a property that we manage. So I can just go anywhere on the map, zoom in, and looking nearby, and if I click on any of those dots, it has the bed, bath, square footage, also when it rented, so if it was a year ago or 2 years or recently, and also how quickly it took to rent and things like that. So I can really zone in and be like, hey, here's the subject property, and we got probably 3 or 4 other 5 or 6 other rentals, but then I just zone in on the ones that are 3 bedrooms, right? If the subject is 3, and then also 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and then I can kind of adjust from there on what the rent would be. And so let's say this one is $10.50, this one's $10.95, this one's $1,000, and this one is $11.25. But this one has a 2-car garage. This one has a carport. This one has something else. And this little area across this major intersection that's right here, we know the areas of town. This one's worth a little more. So it's on this section. So I would go $11.25. We might even push it at $11.50. We're also seeing our rents increase quite a bit here in Memphis and still not having too much pushback. So that is how we analyze our rent. So we have a lot of data-driven things going on here at Memphis Investment Properties, Reedy & Company. We use great softwares, top-of-the-line things like that. I'm an engineer background, so I really like helping out with the data, things like that. We have pricing algorithms, pro formas, all of those things behind the scenes to really help ensure that we're pricing it right and getting a good return to our investors, and also that they're going to rent for that price. We also put our money where our mouth is on this. We do have, at least as of right now today, a rental guarantee in place where if we're not able, we say it's going to be $1,000 a month rent, and we actually have to drop the rent a little bit to $950, and we sold you that turnkey property, we will actually pay you the difference of that drop. So $600 in this case, in that scenario. Also, if it doesn't rent in the first 3 months, we'll start paying the rent. So that's one of our guarantees. Yeah. Okay, let me check these questions here. So ask us, so we got a question here from Grant, cool guy. What will I learn gain if I register for the SOFA Summit? Great question. What will I gain if I register for the SOFA Summit? Well, first off, I think you will gain a lot of knowledge, okay? We're having a lot of thought leaders and people that can help you out in the real estate realm from the SOFA Summit. So if you have not signed up for our SOFA Summit, shame on you. First off, you're losing on it. It's free. It's absolutely free. We're getting a lot of great speakers. Aaron Chapman, Greg Iverson, they own together, probably a couple hundred doors combined. They're lenders, so they help you finance these turnkey properties and get started on that. I myself will be speaking on investing in yourself. So I will be going over 5 principles of how to be successful in life and in real estate. One of the things I go over is Pareto's principle, which is on measuring your results. Going off on that, I've been a big fan of numbers guy, so I love measuring our results, how we're doing. And I go off on how you can do that in your life. So something that I've seen, whenever I'm focusing on something and measuring it and seeing how it's quantifiably going up or going down, it keeps me aware of why I'm going that way. And it keeps me motivated as I see the big picture from a 10,000 foot view, level view above. I can just zone in and get better on that. So you'll see some graphs of where you're going, and you can be like, well, why in this phase, why did I go down? Oh, well, this happened. Well, was that in my control or not? Oh, it was? Okay, I probably could have done this differently. Or if it wasn't, it helps me remain kind of more neutral and view things from a better perspective. During this phase, it went up. Well, why? What did I do? What actions did I take? And how can I repeat those actions? Repeatable steps. And also here, hey, it's stagnant. What am I doing? And it kind of helps me motivate myself to increase in another area. So I go over a lot on that. Mark Hart will be talking about Memphis, the more recent developments going on in Memphis, why Memphis has been a great market to invest in, some of the major employers, all those demographics and statistics you'd want to hear about on Memphis to know why it's a great place to invest. I myself personally scanned the entire nation about 4 years ago, and I do it quite often still. We're looking in other markets. But Memphis has always been a great market to invest in cash flow wise, and it's seen huge appreciation in recent years. Yeah, you're welcome, Grant. I'll keep going off on the SOFA Summit though for you. And so going over that, he'll be going over our turnkey process. Also, we'll be going live into some of our properties that we've recently renovated, so you can see our finished product. It does get a little boring when checking out our renovations because they're all the same. They're all going to have the same paint color, the same flooring, fixtures and everything like that. I mean boring in a sense of like, it's not like some HGTV where like we plan this awesome interior design and things like that. We kind of just keep them straight. We keep the renos within a decent budget to have great, well-priced homes to you. And, but yeah, it's exciting going through it the first couple times. So I go with one of our rehab managers, Derek Phillips. We go into a couple properties he just finished renovating and we're about to sell to some of our investors from out of state. And then we'll be talking about multifamily, how we bought a 124 unit apartment complex recently and how we put in a $2.6 million renovation budget planned. And it's how it's going right now currently and how you can be, you can be learning from that. Then who else do we got? Oh, CEO of Bigger Pockets, Scott Trench, will be talking, and one of the speakers there, and it talks about what a CEO does, how he invests his money and everything like that. Okay, so we got another question here, and also I should probably turn my phone on silent. That's happened before. Send us your questions. The properties are gone so quickly. Do you see that to be a new trend in the future? Great question, Bebe Hey. Bebe Hey, I don't know if that's your real name. That's fine. So probably not. Okay, so yeah, our properties are going quickly. I mean, it's just a real recent thing, actually. I mean, 3 months ago, we had 10, 20 properties available on our inventory. I mean, every year since then, we've had 10, 20, 30 always available because we loved, that's what we prided ourselves in. We loved giving our investors options. You go onto our website, and depending on how much money you have down, if you want to buy one or two, you could have options. You could buy an A-class property or a B or a C, whatever one you want. Now it's kind of getting a little trickier. Our properties are selling within 30 minutes when we post them. Good and bad about that, just showing the demand. There's a low supply as well here in Memphis, showing great appreciation. I'll dive into appreciation a little bit if we have some time. Home price, HPA, home price appreciation. And so, I mean, I potentially could see that being a trend, is that our properties will go quickly. So Thursdays, be zoning in, be looking out for that email. And on our website, we'll send an email when they're all posted, and you could dive in and grab one from there. I'd love your suggestions on the investors in town today who are actually here going and looking at their properties they're buying. They were like, man, I want to get one. I want to buy another one. I've already bought two. It's hard for me. He's like, I'd actually be willing to pay more. Like, are you guys going to do a bidding? Are you guys going to do like an auction? And I was like, right now we're not kind of feeling that because we don't want to like have to like squeeze every last drop out of people for selling these houses. We obviously know they're valuable and people will maybe pay more and things like that. But we like to just kind of price them right as best we feel, keeping up with market conditions and investor demand. That's why they're going so quickly, because we do price them right. They still have great cash flow where they're at. And especially with Memphis turning into a more appreciation market and still has cash flow to more than cover the mortgage. That's really unheard of in a lot of markets. Like most markets, when people are investing in a rental, like in California, they're buying a house for like $400,000. What would the mortgage be on that? 20% down. Here, let's do that mortgage calculator. 400, so it'd be a $320,000 loan because you got to put 20 down at probably a 4.25 interest. Yeah, so $1,500 a month. Yeah, commas get in the way all the time. $1,574, and that would be just your principal and interest, and then you need to put 80 grand down, 80K down on that. So this is like a lot of markets. It's something like this. Your rent might be $2,500, probably though more than likely of like $2,000. Let's just call it $2,000. Then you have taxes and insurance. That's probably an extra $1,000 a month. And then you have, I mean, if you throw in repairs and vacancies and everything like that, I mean, you can already see, well, even if you call that 800 repairs, anyways, you're not even breaking even. You're paying like probably 500 paid each month in just loss to even have this puppy running. Yeah, sure, it's appreciating. Hopefully, right? Hopefully it's appreciating and will go like that forever. But the second this goes down, I mean, you're still forking over 500, and people are just planning on this going up, refining or selling. Where in Memphis, ours are 120,000. Let's call it rents for 1,000, maybe 1,050. The mortgage on 120 with 20% down, let's just call it $100,000 mortgage, is $492. $492 for your mortgage. Taxes and insurance, let's just call it $200 a month. That's actually quite a bit. I mean, so you're at 600, what is that, 700? So you still have some left over. Theoretically speaking, and that's before, that's an apple to apple comparison. So, you still have, this is before repairs and maintenance, same with this one and vacancy. Anyways, just showing, still I think a pretty awesome deal. Yeah, I wish we could have 20 properties available for any investor. That's also nice if someone, what's nice is that it's helped people with 1031 exchanges, because they'll typically 1031 like 200,000, and they could leverage that and get 5 to 8 properties. So it would be nice, because then a guy doing a 1031 can just buy 8 from us. Now we can still line that up if you are in a 1031 exchange. It's really nice buying from us from a 1031 because we have the inventory. It's one seller. You don't have to go line up 4 or 5 properties and hope that all 4 or 5 of those sellers have clear title and can sell to you. Also, all of our renovations are done and a lot simpler. And also, we can close in that 180-day time frame and renovate it and everything like that. So hopefully that kind of asks onto your thing. This week's 4 properties are gone within 30 minutes. Yep, they were. I think an auction format would be pretty unattractive. I like how you do it now. I know, right? I know. That's what I was thinking too. They asked me that. I was like, we could probably do an auction thing, but we don't want. I don't want to say we don't ever want to do that, but it's just we're trying to just price them right and everything like that. It's first come, first serve. We're trying to be fair on that end. We've considered a lot of other ways of going about selling our properties, like have some sort of waiting list. I know other people do that. I'd be interested in hearing what you guys think would be best. Waiting list for like a certain area or a certain house, or maybe like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of retainer fee to make a bid or something like that. We've considered quite a bit of things on that. But right now, we're just trying to keep it apples to apples fair. We put them up, first come, first serve. And as long as you're qualified or a good buyer, and we just kind of make sure you have a good lender and all of that lined up, we'll let you take that. So yeah, great comment there, Jonathan Johnson. All right, Rich, how fast do you guys get new inventory and properties? Okay, great question. Let me pull up our acquisition stats here really quick to show you what we've been doing in the past. I've created this acquisitions report month over month for the past several years. So I'll kind of give you an average. It's pretty easy to see. We do 250 properties a year, so about 20 to 25 a month would be about how many we buy each month. So 4 or 5 or 6 a week would be pretty typical. 4 to 5 a week is how many will come out. Some weeks, though, we buy 1, close on 1, and other weeks we close on 10 or 20. I think our biggest month ever was 50 or 60. That's because we bought a big package deal. Let me get kind of the stats here. Yeah, we actually bought a lot in July. We bought 33 this month. So even when that's the biggest month this year, 33, the month before 22. Through COVID, we were at like 13 or 15. We slowed down a little bit through COVID, which hence why the inventory slowed down a little bit too. That's because people during COVID, it was hard to get into houses to make an offer and get the renovation estimate, because we want to get in the house and make sure the reno is what it's going to be. So that's why it went down a little bit. I think there's a little low. I still think people are kind of hunkering down a little bit still since COVID. They don't want to have to go and move, and prices are increasing, so they're going to sell a high-priced house, but then they have to buy another high-priced house. So inventory is slacking quite a bit here in Memphis, hence why the inventory's gone down. Another reason why we have low inventory is, sorry about that, I'm just grabbing something here, reading these things. Low inventory is because home building has pretty much been very, very, very low the past decade. Since the market crash, there's been very few home builders. Yes, there are homes being built, not in the mass hundreds, or even in the thousands range, where the saturation of population growth and people coming in, it's not keeping up. Also, all of the new builds are being built in the $450,000 plus. 3,000 square feet in the big areas of town, because to build a $200,000 house and make a profit is really hard. Just the cost of building's gone up. Lumber's gone up a lot. Let me tell you about that. We do have some development projects, some new builds in the pipeline. I know, get excited about it. We got about 6 to 8 homes being built actually nearby our office. We're debating selling them turnkey or selling them retail to homeowners, just kind of seeing what would be the best fit there. But anyways, lumber costs have gone up a bunch, like 30%. Lumber is just going through the roof. Reason being, supply and demand. The sawmills were shut down through COVID. They're trying to keep up with all the demand, and now new homes are being built. So just some thoughts there on that. All right, we're getting a couple more questions. Gregory Holiday, pros and cons of self-directed 401k for real estate. Okay, great question. I see your comment there, Bradley, too. So 401k, let's just call it like 401k, your IRA, your Roth, your traditional Roth. You can actually do an HSA, health savings account, if you qualify. Anyways, talk to who is our what's that company? Ramez. Oh man, they're at our conference. Man, I should know their name. What's IRA Club? I'm sorry. So if you want to know more about the pros and cons of this, talk to the professionals at IRA Club, Ramez, and the owner. God, they're great guys. Dennis, I love them. They're great guys. Okay, I love them. They're here in our office, actually visiting us to get prepped for our SOFA Summit. They'll be talking about this at our SOFA Summit. So if you haven't signed up, Gregory Holiday, for the SOFA Summit, you better stay tuned because they're going to be talking about this. Okay, 401k pros and cons. So first off, these all are like tax deferred or tax upfront savings account, help savings accounts, sponsored by the government, all that. These are tax delayed upfront. So anyways, pros and cons to it is that you're saving a lot on taxes on the back end. So your capital gains can be deferred, things like that. That's if you're buying it all cash. If you do buy it with a loan in place, you have like a UBIT tax. Okay, I don't know all the too many. I know I do actually invest my Roth IRA into real estate. I put $25,000 actually into one of our apartments. So I personally do it for certain scenarios and cases, and it just depends on where you can put your funds and where you think you're doing the best. Anyways, you do have a UBIT tax if you get a loan on it. You can kind of Google these things a little more. I've read about all these. I just can't remember all the fresh details on me. So you do have a little bit of this UBIT tax. Also, of investing in real estate, you do need a custodian. So traditionally, people just throw their 401k in a big brokerage that they put it into a mutual fund and they get charged a little fee for that. And they're just investing in stocks. So if you can rock it in the stocks and are cool with those returns, yeah, keep them in there. And especially since you don't get too many real estate tax advantages in any of those because they're stocks. Where if you buy something personally in your name, you're basically you're deferring or saving these taxes. So if you buy it in a 401k or anything, you kind of miss out on that depreciation. Talk to your accountant on that. But you can't depreciate the asset in there because it's in a 401k and you're already not taxed anything through going through it. So that's why personally in your name, it's kind of nice because you can write that off against your income where these can't be classified on that. Then also, but what is nice is those capital gains can be deferred. So if it's like a flip, I think a flip would probably be one of the better things to put into it because it's burning and churning. Where a buy and hold, the reason why you buy a buy and hold are for all these depreciation benefits. So already getting way good tax depreciation benefits, buying it personally in your name, So I would do more flips in these types of things. Or you could do a buy and hold if you think it's going to get a lot of equity over time. And also if you just have so much in these accounts and you're totally tired of the stock market, there are pros to doing it. Obviously like me, I got sick of the stock market. I cashed it out, threw it into real estate because I just knew it was a good appreciating asset. So I would throw it into something that's more going to appreciate and have big capital gains because you kind of defer those off through there. Okay. Then also, yeah, you need a custodian. They'll help you out. There are some fees attached with the custodian. I would say they're pretty nominal, especially if you get a big account and have a lot of money. What's also the con of investing in these is that you have a big barrier of entry. For real estate, if you only put in $6,000 in your Roth and built it up for a few years, you only have 20 grand. So it'd be really hard to use that in real estate, just 20 grand. I mean, yeah, you can do 20% down, but then financing is a trick. So financing is a lot different. It needs to be, what is it called? Not collateralized, but the opposite of collateralized. Man, the word's escaping me right now. Financing, non-recourse. So you have to get non-recourse financing, which is usually around 40 to 50% down. So yet again, it just increases your barrier of entry. And the interest rates, you have probably anywhere from 7 to 12% interest. Where if you just do it personally in your own name, you can do it for 20% down. And you're looking at a 3 to 5% interest rate, right? 30 years, where these were typically 5 to 20 year AMs. So the financing is another barrier onto that. That's why really ideally going off on this again, if you do want to invest in real estate in this, again, pros and cons, I would invest into like a syndication or a big multifamily because most multifamilies are non-recourse loans anyways. And they'd be at more attractive debt than this because usually the partners are taking the loan, the managers of it are taking the loan in their name. So my thoughts to you would be something that is high appreciating, like a flip or just a higher value add type of property, like not a turnkey. You can invest for a turnkey, but typically it would be probably more advantageous to have one that has those huge capital gains because buy and hold, you just want something that depreciates well. Second would be suggested into probably a multifamily syndication or something like that because you get non-recourse loans anyways. Lock up all your personal loans and with that 20% down for all the single families that are more just kind of for those great tax write-offs. Okay, so hopefully I explained that pretty well. You got the ideas of that, Gregory. Yes, you're welcome, sir. And I can go more on that. And also IRA Club will be talking about that more. All right, Bradley Purett. Is real estate a good investment right now considering the current state of the economy? Great question. Difficult one. I'm not an economic expert, financial advisor, tax, or lawyer, tax accountant, or anything like that. But my personal opinion, of course, as everything is in these live videos. Personally, I'm buying houses right now. I'm looking for good deals, though, in good areas that I know. So I'm buying a personal residence, and it needs a lot of work. So I'm going to add value to it. So that's what I'm doing. Also, also the current state, I mean, it's going up. There's just so many economics. Talking with Jim Reedy, my partner, the other day, who's been through several market cycles, he's like, he doesn't see it going too far down. Yeah, this COVID thing's a little scary. Maybe be a little more cautious than what you've been or slightly more depending on your investment criteria. But it's just, there's the fundamentals of supply and demand are there. Another fundamental or a thing is you just have historically low interest rates. So it would be an advantageous time right now to lock in those great low interest rates, like refinancing. I would suggest that, or at least getting like a HELOC on your personal residence. So I would definitely be taking advantage of refis or getting a home equity line of credit if you have a personal residence, okay? Get that long-term debt financing lined up, which could then give you some cash out to have a little barrier, some fund. Then also supply and demand just shows high appreciation. There's, like I mentioned, not a lot of houses being built right now. Then going off, okay, I knew people would ask it. Here's some new news, okay? Some new news about COVID is, oh, that's a terrible D. Trump just came out that they're stopping all foreclosure until December of 2020. This just came out yesterday. Okay, so first off, initial shock, right? I'm like a little initial shock there, freaking out, right? You're like, oh man, I see people opening their eyes here. It's funny. Okay, so first off, not the hugest panic here because not too many people. First off, it's like there's only about 10% of the people who probably have lost their jobs or anything like that. So, I mean, you got about 90% chance. The odds are in your favor. It's going good. Second off, in order for this to go in place, the people that will be delayed the eviction, they first have to be affected by COVID, have proof of that. Then they also have to show that they attempted to get government financing and subsidiaries in other ways. So they have to attempt, all the COVID things that are going on, PPPs, if they were a business owner that lost something, and also for unemployment and other things like that. So they need to show that. And they have to show that they were affected by it. And then also, lastly, is it doesn't take off the obligation. So some people think, oh, great, I'm not obligated to pay rent. It does not take off the obligation. So even if you aren't getting evicted till December, you'll still be due all those months' rents that you're behind. So the obligation is still there, and therefore they're basically just kicking the can. I think is an election play, kick your problems down the line. Love our government, everything like that. I was actually reading a little bit more on that article. Let me pull it up a little bit for you guys. Okay, so they talked about it only applies to tenants impacted. Tenants must provide proof, like I mentioned. Oh yeah, so still number 3, some evictions are still allowed. So if someone is in there destroying your property or has decided to all of a sudden get 20 dogs and cats into the house and they're not agreeing to the lease terms, for that reason, we can still get them out, okay? Also, if they weren't affected by COVID and just decided to not pay and don't have a reason and can't prove it there, we can get them out, okay? So those are the reasons why. And then it's just a moratorium, only applies to certain tenants. And it's also by a income filter. So if you make $99,000 filing singly, or if it's $198,000 filing jointly, if you make greater than that, you don't meet this barrier based on your previous stimulus check that were eligible. So only people that were financially eligible for the stimulus check. And then yet again, you are still responsible. The obligation is still there, okay? Just the terms of when you pay it has been delayed. All right. Us in Memphis, we're actually not feeling that much of a hurt. There's an article, I had like a live, 2 weeks ago or something? I read an article. Memphis statistically had one of the top 5 markets least affected by COVID in terms of rent. Our rent only went down. I actually think it went up a little bit. And then also in terms of unemployment and evictions, okay? So Memphis isn't doing too bad. I think it's because in Memphis, we have lots of stable jobs that are actually really related to what's it called? Oh, yeah, e-commerce. So we have FedEx here. So as you know, through the COVID, a lot of people have been buying more and more on e-commerce. Well, FedEx is one of the largest shippers of packages, and there's a lot of distribution centers here nearby in Memphis, like Nike. Amazon has several distribution centers here. So they've actually been hiring more and more and keeping those people there. So a lot of people haven't been losing their jobs quite as much as in terms of other places. Now, of course, waiters and people like that had a little rough time, but man, most of our restaurants are 50% open, and I'm trying to tip my waiters pretty well. Things like that, my waiters and waitresses. So at least in my opinion, what we're seeing right now is doing pretty well. Also in terms of collections, for us in Memphis, our collections rate, we looked at August and the past 5 years for August collection. This was actually not the worst August in the past 5 years. Last year, we had about a 1% better collection rate. 2 years ago was a little bit better than this current August 2020, but 3 years ago is actually a 1% less than what we collected now. So it isn't the worst historical August of all time. And we kind of go by month instead of like average per the year, because each month is different. There's actually certain months of the year that we collect less rent. August is one of them. Reason being, I think people are going back to school, moving, also just those school supplies and things like that. Surprisingly, December isn't a terrible collections month. You think it would be because of Christmas, but it's usually after December. It gets a little rough. And when I mean rough, our collection rate is also pretty phenomenal. Not 96%, 97, 95 is our typical collections rate, which is really, really phenomenal for Memphis. And that is just basically by the end of the month. We usually, like a couple weeks into the previous month, we end up collecting quite a bit more from that previous month and late fees. So anyways, going off on that tangent there, our collections rate and our data is showing pretty strong numbers. And our evictions we had a few wave here for catching up through COVID, but on average for the year, we're right about at our average eviction rate. We're working with our tenants a lot, communicating with them, helping them apply for these stimulus checks and unemployment, other things like that. So we're doing our best here, and our collections team, really shout out to them. They've really done an excellent job getting things better. Okay. Let me go back to the comment section here. Looks like I lost it for a minute. Okay, found it. All right, did I miss? Okay, when are we getting more listings? Rabina, Blundell, great information. Thanks out. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the questions, guys. Okay, Rabina, when are we getting more listings? I guess you're assuming turnkey properties. So they come out every Thursday. So what we're doing is, instead of posting a property every day when we buy one on Monday, we probably get it online on Tuesday after we know the budget and everything. Instead of doing that, so because like that way an investor would just have to be on our website, just like, Okay, is one going to pop up? And check like 20 times a day. Instead, whatever we bought for the current week, we wait until Thursday and we put everything up on our website on Thursday and send out an email that it's posted there. So Thursdays will be the day to check the website. So we'll be having more on Thursday. Man, I wish I got a pipeline update, but I know we have several properties in the pipeline for purchasing. We have about 30 or 40 actually right now. Just depends on when their title closes and how quick the seller is on getting their documents and all that. So there's your answer. Thursdays when our turnkeys come available. I saw that you ventured outside of Memphis a while ago, like in Mississippi, but seemed to focus back on Memphis again. Why is that? Okay, we actually are still venturing in Mississippi. If you go to Google and pull up Memphis, Tennessee, you're going to see the big old Mississippi River. You're going to see the state line. You're going to see Tennessee. You're going to see Mississippi, right? Here's downtown, right? Downtown Memphis, the big city. Anyways, we invest in the whole greater Memphis area, but then also we invest in this whole entire pocket here. This is our buying box. So we dip down in Mississippi. I mean, you might as well call this just Memphis suburb. It's from downtown. You're about 10 minutes to Graceland, like right over here. Here's the airport. So you're only an extra like 5 minutes. You're in Mississippi. From here, an extra 10, 15 minutes. So I mean, our office can get to Mississippi within 30, 40 minutes. We're pretty much anywhere. So yeah, we do a lot in Mississippi. Outside of that, though, you are right. We don't go too far. We do a little bit up here in Millington. Sometimes go a little farther east. Sometimes we dip down a little bit into this Mississippi area. But yeah, we have lots of properties in Mississippi. So we've been looking into other markets. We just want to, really what it was is we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We're worried if we go into another market that we're not quite yet prepared with the staff and the processes here that are perfected, even though they're pretty dang good, I would say, and that we just don't want to provide a less quality renovation and a less quality property management in another market, because we would risk that at the very beginning and don't want to have a disservice to our clients. We feel like we have a great thing going here and just really focusing and diving deep on what we're doing. We have been, though, investing into multifamily properties. That's kind of been our extra adventure. So good question there. Okay. Oh, I can type on here? That's cool. Thanks for... Okay, cool. So I'll get a login and you can sign in and get good questions. Okay, great questions, guys. It's been fun. It's been some fun stuff. How long have we... Oh, wow, we've been rolling for a while. Man, 40 minutes go by just like that. Okay, let me tell you about my weekend adventure. This is for those people that just want to see what we do in Memphis, what we do for fun. So first off, there's a lot of lakes nearby. So many lakes here in Tennessee. I mean, you got Lake Sardis, that's down south an hour. Am I kind of out of the way here? I'll scrape in here a little bit so you can see my little desk. Anyways, I'm though driving to Middle Tennessee. Okay, so we're going to, it's kind of by Smithville. If you pull up your Google map there, it's Smithville. It's by Edgar Evans State Park, Center Hill Lake. Okay, my first time there. It's just about 30 minutes east of Nashville. I'm going with about 2 other families, bringing my kids, my 4-year-old and my 4-year-old daughter, my 2-year-old son, my wife, and then the other families have kids with similar ages. We got a boat. You know, her dad, one of the friends, their dad has a boat, and they live in Nashville. It's about a 4-hour drive from here. So we're packing up. I'm actually leaving in about 15 minutes, guys. So I'm already checked out for the weekend, as I'm sure most of you are. Anyways, I'm heading over there. We're gonna go check out Edgar Evans State Park. There's like some cool like waterfall things you can go check out. Beautiful rolling hills, the hills of Tennessee, rolling over in there. Smokies are a little bit farther east of there. Anyways, I'm pretty excited. We got a little cabin there. Maybe I could. I don't have the address prepped up right there, but it'll be really fun. Little 3-bed cabin with some extra room for the kids to sleep. So we're gonna have a good time. It's really fun boating out here. Like nice water, lots of rainfall going on, and then there's rope swings and like cliffs to jump off. Little things like that, anchor your boat, have a lot of pontoon boats going, things like that. So anyways, that's my weekend adventure. Just so you guys wonder if I do have a life outside of real estate. I sometimes do. Sometimes. Okay. Did I lose everyone? Okay, that's okay. Just teasing, guys. So screening process, the Sofa Summit. Sign up for the Sofa Summit. If you really haven't done it, please do. And you tell your friends. I'm telling you, I'm going to be one of the first speakers there that day. Mine is applicable to anyone, real estate or non-real estate related. Listen to my talk and Mark's talks. Ours will be really good. We're kind of towards the more front end of it. Also, listen in the entire day on Friday. Jim Reedy will be wrapping it up on Friday. 45 years experience in real estate and everything like that. Then also on Sunday, we will be talking. This is the 18th, correct? My two. Oh God, 19th, 20th. I messed it up last time too. Go on our website. You'll see the dates. Saturday and Sunday. The 20th, which is Sunday, also we'll be talking about our multifamily property. I dive into all the numbers. We show transparent exactly what we projected and how we're going to raise money and everything like that on that. So some real exciting things going on. So our collections is still good. All right. So I think that's a wrap up for this week. If you guys have any last desperate questions, you can leave them here, and I'll probably pick them back up for next time as well. No, they won't show up. Wow, we need like a questions. Yeah, we should do that. We should send out a questions before, and then like we'll send it. There you go. We'll send out a questions email, and then we'll collect them all, and I'll answer some of them as I can. And I also look up like other recent articles and things like that. We're always keeping up with Memphis and everything like that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for checking out our live. Hopefully this all makes sense to you. My elaborate, beautiful drawings. You can just Google Memphis though, and you'll see. And I'm real excited doing these. These are really fun to do, at least for me. I have a good time. Oh yeah, home price appreciation. Was I going to talk about? Yeah, we feel like Memphis is going up. It's been going up. I'll show that next week. I have a whole database of what zip codes have appreciated. But anyways, overall, Memphis has been appreciating 4 to 5% a year overall over the years. But some of our zip codes that we specifically really focus on have been going up 9, 8, 10, 12%. Some of our hot zip codes like 38127 Fraser, 38118, 38116, other big zip codes that we have a lot of properties in have been going up a lot. And makes sense because they're so low price. They're such good deals. People are just going in and buying them. Anyways, we'll go over that next week a little more. Okay, thank you guys. Sean Taggy. Wait, timeout. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that button. We need to get these algorithms out here. We need YouTube to know that we're providing great content. Sean Taggy signing out. Thank you.